Hey, what's up? I found semen retention in the Bible, specifically in Proverbs, and not loosely. Let's get in. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Amos. This is my channel, Fear No Human, where we talk about how spiritual changes and self improvement tie together. So if you're interested in that, welcome. Let's dive in. Proverbs 5, decoded. Solomon knew about semen retention. Here's why Solomon matters, right? Solomon is the man who wrote Proverbs. He was the wisest man on earth and potentially one of the richest men on earth. And not only that, Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. He wasn't theorizing about lust. He knew from experience what it does to a man, what it costs him, and what it takes from his power, his mind, and his connection to God. When Solomon writes about sexual energy, we should probably listen, right? He has literally experience. Now, we also need to discuss how wisdom literature works. Proverbs is wisdom literature, a specific genre, poetic, figurative, layered. It operates on multiple levels at once: literal, allegorical, practical. The Jewish tradition has a framework for this called pa, pa, the Jewish tradition has a framework for this. 4 layers of meaning in a single passage. These writers were precise. Every image was chosen. Every word carries weight. Now, keep that in mind as we read. Again, not everything has to be taken literally, especially when you're reading figurative text that was written like that. Let the ones who have ears to hear. No, let the ones who have ears to hear, hear. So let's dive in. The warning. Solomon opens with 2 words. My son. Father to son, wisdom transmission. This teaching is literally for men. He's laying the foundation right there. By the way, this is in Proverbs chapter 5, if you want to open up your Bible and read it. For the lips of the adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is bitter as gall, sharp as a 2-edged sword. Sweet entry, bitter end. Not a lot to invest initially, but boy, it's a lot of debt after. In the wisdom literature, the seductress is not just a little woman, she is a personification of lust itself, the force that pulls a man away from his purpose, his power, his God. Her path leads to death. She wanders aimlessly and doesn't know it. She is literally pulling him out of alignment with God. Alignment with God is how you get to life. Disalignment with God is how you die. And not just that, this is what the lack of sexual discipline does to a man. It leads to death because being aligned with God takes being aligned mentally, physically, and spiritually. And sexual energy is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Let me say that again. Sexual energy is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical, between the metaphorical and the literal. Sexual energy is quite literally life force. You have the power of trillions of lives seated within you. Your body is storing and preparing to create life. So let me get back to this. Honey, gall. She starts out initially super sweet. And honey is good. Too much honey is bad. But in the end, with her, it's gall. Bitter. Bad. No bueno. So, the consequence is hell on earth. Not heaven. Death. At the end of your life, you will groan when your flesh and body are spent. Spent. Gone. In debt. Solomon is describing a man who gave it all away, his vitality, his life force, his energy, his creative power, his alignment, to strangers in the public squares, to momentary pleasure. It was super sweet, but where is it now? He goes on to say, how I hated discipline, how my heart spurned correction. That's the voice of a man who knew better, didn't act on it. It's regret. Solomon watched this happen, possibly in himself, probably in other people. He's not warning you from theory. Remember, he had a thousand total women to his name. Now, part of that was business contracts. Part of that was creating peace treaties. I'm sure some of them was out of love. But the problem is when he mixed himself with 700 wives, 300 concubines, he started worshiping and praising their gods, and he started falling out of alignment with God. He started losing his protection from God. Check out the Solomon Keys if you want to learn more about that. Those are some other books he has written. So here's the sequence. Honor lost, wealth drained, body spent, public shame. It's not all, it's not immediately. It's erosion. It catches up to you. It sneaks up on you. It's literally an erosion of character, an erosion of yourself. When you're partaking in PMO, porn, masturbation, orgasm, that is self-erosion. You're literally giving up yourself, especially if it's many, many people. Now, where this works is when you're in a relationship, which we'll touch on that later. So, let's get to the solution. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, your streams of water in the public squares. Let's read it again. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, your streams of water in the public squares. So, the water here is pertaining to sexual energy. Now, when it says drink water from your own cistern, if we were to take that literally, that would be really freaking weird. So you have to look at it metaphorically in order for it to make sense. So in this metaphor, the water is sexual energy contained at the base, not spilled into the streets. It is the water at the bottom of the well. Now, should your springs overflow in the streets? Should your streams of water in the public squares? Should your sexual energy be overflowing to other people? Publicly, right? In the public squares? No. Now, look at our culture. So, solution is breath work. So, here's the whole well, right? Which is symbol of your spine, or of your not just your spine, but your entire sexual energy system. Now, I say this because we need to give some background info. Semen, literally, which is in your balls, it is very similar to the fluid that is in your brain and the fluid that runs up and down your spine. And that fluid, again, goes up and down your spine. And so your job is, when you're retaining, I don't know how many of you have retained, but you notice sometimes it's hard and you have to use that energy up. You have to go to the gym. You have to transmute it into something into your life. But you can't just let it sit there. because then it balls up. You get that tension. What you need to do is use breath work to bring it up. So, like a bucket. Breath work is the bucket. Intentional breath draws the energy up the spine and into your head. It goes from hell, which is your lower body, to Middle Earth, which is around there. And sometimes people have blocks in that area to where the energy cannot rise, and you have to find ways to get rid of it. You need to stay hydrated. You need to stretch, and especially if you are been taxing your sexual energy system, you should probably do TRE, sexual trauma release exercises, and it can open those blockages. Again, overflow is a waste. Your springs. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me back up. So that's Middle Earth, and up here, heaven, the Crystal Palace, the third eye. Now, be careful with the third eye. It is a gate, and it is neither good nor bad. It is merely a spiritual gate, and it is up to you to stay spiritually protected, which is why you must be aligned with God so that you are not aligning yourself with the devil. So, the well, your spine, the water, sexual energy contained at the base, not spilled into the streets. The bucket, breath work, intentional breath draws energy up. The drink, transmutation, energy circulating back through you. It literally goes up and into your brain, and then you use that energy for creative purposes. Feeding your mind, spirit, and your purpose. And I hope your mind is aligned with God, or your thoughts, your goals, and your belief patterns and cycles aligned with God. Is your spirit aligned with God? Is your prayer life? Is your seeking truth life? Following Jesus life? And is your purpose aligned with God? Now, overflow is a waste. Overflowing your water into, or in your springs, your vitality, all of that, it's a waste. Your creative energy were never meant for the public square. Retention is the first step. But the well isn't just for storage. You're meant to draw from it. The Taoists call it Jing. The yogic tradition calls it Ojas. Circulated through Sushumna channel. Solomon was the wisest man alive in the world, actively trading and participating and touching all the corners of the earth. He encoded this into his book to his son for a reason. Probably because it was a part of his wisdom. So, Proverbs 5. Here now we have some more scripture to prove that scripture. The same principle, vital strength contained, or vital strength wasted, runs through the whole text. Song of Songs, again, written by Proverbs. A garden locked, a spring enclosed, a sealed fountain. Same author, same water imagery. Solomon describes the beloved, a sealed fountain, containment of the highest praise. He used the exact vocabulary on purpose. Hold on, cat's freaking annoying me. Hey guys, Editor Amos here. If you want what's exactly was on screen here, it will be in the description below. It's $5, price of a coffee. Help me pay for presenting this info. And if you just want to support, if not, you can just take notes. The videos are free. But if you do want to support, and if you do want this to pair with your reading, it's in the description below. Or you can go to fearnohue.men and you can find the link, and that link will lead you to my stamp store, and you can support from there. Again, thank you. Have a blessed day. Sorry about that. My boy cat couldn't leave my girl cat alone, and he couldn't utilize his water and transmute it. All right. Proverbs 31:3. Do not spend your strength on women, your vigor on those who ruin kings. Again, written by Solomon. And he's literally saying your vigor on those who ruin kings. Solomon is speaking from experience, from the 1,000, at least, women he has dealt with. It's probably thousands. It's a finite resource that can be spent. The same word world as Proverbs 5:11. Judges 16. This is about Samson, a man of supernatural strength, dissipated through a seductress. This is the narrative version of Proverbs 5. A man of extraordinary power gives his secret away in the lap of Delilah and wakes up drained, blind, and grinding in the enemy's mill, which was the Philistines. And the Philistines can get into the evil, which is the giant bloodline, because the Philistines were giants. It wasn't just Goliath and his brothers, and the giants are children of the Nephilim / the Nephilim themselves, which the Nephilim are in Genesis 6 and Enoch. If you want to learn more about them, they are demon human hybrids, or fallen angel human hybrids, creates giants, and literally the enemy. And he gave his secret away to a seductress, and she gave his secret away to his enemy, literally the demons / demon possessed people / demon people hybrids / you can just look at it figuratively and just the evil ones. 1 Thessalonians 4:4. That each of you should learn to control his own body in a way that is holy and honorable. The vessel is possessed, governed, stewarded, not spilled. Same principle, New Testament. Proverbs 25:28. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. No containment, no protection. A man who cannot hold his walls cannot hold anything. A man who cannot keep his well safe and is constantly drawing into the well and splashing it to the streets. Doesn't work. Might be fun, doesn't work. One truth, many languages. Solomon was the wisest man alive in a world actively trading wisdom across cultures. The Queen of Sheba came to him. His ships ran trade routes. His court was international. The same principle he encoded in Proverbs 5 appears independently articulated across the ancient world. The Taoists, Jing, the vital essence stored at the base of the body. Practice, the microsmic orbit. Breath circulates energy up the spine, the dew channel, and back down the front. The classics call it returning the Jing to nourish the brain. Draw up, not spilled out. Yogic Ojas and Erdhavaritis, I'm sorry if I'm butchering some of these pronunciations, has Brahmacharya, energy stewardship, one of the foundational yamas of the yogic path. Retained essence is refined into Ojas, the subtle vitality that feeds mind and spirit. Kundalini rises through the Sushumna, the spinal channel, driven by pranayama, breathwork. Sanskrit even has a word for it, which I tried to say that word earlier. Upward flowing seed. Spine as the channel, energy at the base, breath at the mechanism. Cultivation as the reward, Solomon's well, the Taoist orbit, and the yogic Sushumna are describing the same architecture, each tradition in its own language. Now, as a person who follows Jesus, I struggled, and I grew up in the church, and I personally, I don't like to call myself a Christian. I'm a follower of the way. I follow Jesus, and specifically Jesus. And you know, Jesus meditated. Jesus would go out and find peace to pray. So, and breath work is a form of meditation. Literally, when you do meditate, it teaches you to focus on your breath. And breath work is a more like intentional, refined version of some meditations. And you know, again, I struggled with the concept of breath work for a while until I found it here in Proverbs. And I've been practicing it for the past 2 years, and it's one of the greatest habits I've ever implemented into my life. Breath work and going on a prayer walk and daily writing have been some of the biggest things that have moved the needle for me, plus my journaling method. But that's another video. So we had the warning, the consequence, and the solution. The warning: dissipation looks sweet, it ends in bitterness. The consequence: the man who gives it all away ends up spent, shamed, and full of regret. And the solution: contain your springs, draw from your own well, let your fountain be blessed. Retain, cultivate, ascend. Solomon knew it, the Taoists knew it, the yogis knew it, men forgot it, or were never taught it. So here I am trying to teach it. Now, I was talking about previously about also sharing your energy with the wife of your youth, which is here in Proverbs 5. Which, let me grab my Bible real quick. This is starting at Proverbs 5:15. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, your streams of water in the public squares, let them be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. Again, the fountain, same water imagery, it literally shoots water up and then comes back into the basin to recycle. So if you couldn't get it with the well, he makes sure you get it with the fountain. Now, may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. Rejoicing in the wife of your youth causes you to be blessed. And cultivating and stewarding your sexual energy and not overflowing and spilling into the streets is also how you get blessed. A loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be captivated by her love. Why be captivated, my son, by an adulteress? Why embrace the bosom of another man's wife? For a man's ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all his paths. The evil deeds of a wicked man ensnare him. The cords of his sin hold him fast. He will die for lack of discipline, led astray by his own great folly. So, cultivate your sexual energy. Share it only with the wife of your youth. And that is a whole nother video about the mechanics of the masculine and the feminine meeting and how that creates and cultivates energy when you're doing it under God. Now, it does not work even if you are in a relationship and you're not actively going out into the streets, but you're in your bathroom on your phone looking at things you shouldn't be. You're on Grok generating images you shouldn't be. You're, who knows, you're on your burner account that you shouldn't be. You're in the private browser mode, which you shouldn't be, which I'm not judging. I'm speaking from a place of love, because this has been a struggle that has been on my family for a long time. It's been a demonic stronghold on the family. As much as I find out about the men generations before me, every single one of them had a lust and sexual energy cultivation problem. which is why I'm so passionate about this and care about this so deeply, because I believe it is my job given to me by God to break this paradigm, to break this stronghold, and to present this new paradigm into my bloodline so that my future sons can do better, can climb the ladder. So, with that being said, Matthew 10:28. Fear no human. Y'all have a blessed day.